Okay, example C then, we're adding 1/4, 1/8 and 1/16. At the minute we're not allowed to add them because all their denominators are not the same. So we've got to make them the same by getting the lowest common multiple of them. So the smallest number that 4, 8 and 16 all go into is 16. So we're going to make all the denominators into 16. Let's take our first fraction, 1/4. We want to turn 4 into 16. So in order to do that, we've got to multiply by 4. And we must do exactly the same thing to the numerator. So we've got 1 multiplied by 4 is just going to give us 4 over 16. So we find an equivalent fraction to 1/4. We're now going to do the same for 1/8. We're going to make its denominator 16. So we have to multiply 8 by 2 in order to get 16. And we have to do exactly the same thing to the numerator. We've got to multiply it by 2 as well. So we're going to get 1 multiplied by 2 is just going to give us 2. So we found an equivalent fraction to 1/8. Now, the good news is that 1/16, the denominator already is 16, so we don't need to do anything to the last fraction. So now we're going to add all the fractions that have the same denominator. So we now have instead of 1/4, 4 over 16. Then we're adding, instead of 1/8, we're adding on 2 over 16. And then we're adding on the 1 over 16. We are now allowed to add the fractions because all the denominators are the same. So that means the denominator in our answer will be exactly the same. It's also going to be 16. The numerator is the sum of all the separate numerators. So 4 plus 2 is going to give us 6, plus 1 is going to give us 7. So we have 7 over 16. Again, check that it's fully cancelled. It is, because the largest number that goes into 7 and 16 is just 1. And it's also a proper fraction. Remember, proper meaning the numerator is smaller than the denominator, so therefore you can't turn it into a mixed fraction. You can only turn an improper fraction into a mixed fraction, and for that to be the case, the numerator would have to be bigger than the denominator. So just remind yourself of that. So that is our final answer for example C.